Good morning, Backgammon fans. Bill Riles and Tara Mendocino from Houston, Texas. This morning, it's kind of a treat. Friday morning, early, at least in the States. It's our 2021 Monte Carlo Satellite Final, produced by and directed by Ace Point Backgammon. This has been about a month-long process. We had 4 8-player brackets, and then the 4 bracket winners advanced to a playoff. And today's the final. This morning, we have 2 players, Ralph Sudbrack of Berlin, Germany, and Brian Heft of Las Vegas, Nevada. So here's Brian. He's from Las Vegas. He plays in the United States. He plays on many of our Ace Point Backgammon weekly tournaments and blitzes and free rolls and things of that nature. So he's quite familiar. And here's a photo of Ralph Sudbrack from Berlin. Ralph has joined Ace Point to participate in our satellite tournament for the Monte Carlo Championship, or the championship for the satellite to have an entry into Monte Carlo. So yeah, they've run through a pretty good crowd of people. We had some good participants in the tournaments, and we're ready to play this morning. So Tara is monitoring the Galaxy lobby here to pick up the match when it begins. Here we are. Hello, good match. They're just starting. Brian Heft, Nevada, is on the top of the screen. Ralph Sudbrack from Berlin on the bottom of the screen. So, Tara, would you pick up the dog? He's scratching. Okay, so here we are. It's a 11-point match, 0-0. First game. And as we can see, Brian has gotten some good initial rolls and established a fairly strong and advanced position. Ralph's been stressed with a couple of lesser rolls and is in a bit of a dilemma here. I suspect Brian's up 16 pips with a strong position. He may be in a doubling position here quite soon. He chooses to play on. I don't think because he thought it was too strong. I think he just perhaps deferred on the double itself. So considering the 6-3, does he run? Does he? Oh, he hits 2, which. You know, if it works, it's great. 6-4. Now, Brian danced when he was hit, and now a 6-4 for Ralph, which has given him a bit of an opportunity to swing the momentum of this game. Brian had an early strong position. Ralph was kind of on his heels a bit, but now he's in a position where perhaps he can reverse that. Now, I agree with that play. I would want to step up to the front of that prime and make the anchor. So that was a very nice play. So now you can see, although Ralph's behind the 4 prime, or was behind the 4 prime, he was 33 pips up, and now he's going to be 53 pips up after that roll. So the flavor of this first game of the match has completely switched, and so now it's going to be Ralph deciding at some point in time here with a 42 pip lead, is he in a position to try to take advantage of a double. Again, he's got some a little bit of a chore to clear some of those points, but wow, we're getting some action here with these large doubles. He's going to get hit. Brian's going to make the 4 point as well. So then the only choice will be the fourth 5. Okay, so there's the 3-1. He's probably going to play the 3 and make the ace. And then it's going to be, Brian's got a number of rolls here that potentially point, but he is 23 pips down. So, okay, so he plays, rolls the 6-3, which is not his best roll necessarily. He can play him safely, to the, what is that, to the 2 and the 7. But he's still behind 14 pips after the roll. So, in effect, almost breaking contact may not be his best option at this point. Now, again, I'm quite familiar with Brian's play. He plays in our tournaments all the time. They're Ralph dances. Brian doubles. Ralph takes it with the, he's 11 pips ahead. Brian's got an open 5-point. He hasn't made the 3-point. So probably a very reasonable take. Now there's the prime. So some good fortune for Brian there. As I was beginning to say, I know Brian fairly well from his lots of play in our ace point tournaments. Ralph, I'm not familiar with particularly. But he's played in the Monte Carlo Satellite. He's starting to play in some of our other events, and certainly Tara has interacted with him a fair amount, and he's become kind of one of her favorites. He's apparently a very good-natured, jovial type guy. He enjoys playing, and we're very appreciative that he's joined our Ace Point family. So now Brian is just, he's got the prime, he's got the Ace Point slotted here, he's picked up a second checker. Now it's just a matter of, playing this as he might to maximize his gammon chances. Now he's picked up, he's slotted on the ace. Now he's going to make the ace. 3 closed out, so he's a very heavy gammon favorite here. So it was interesting. We saw a couple of big swings in this first game, and then as backgammon often goes, just when it looked like Ralph was in a good superior position, he clears, leaving a 10 pip fly shot, and Brian obliges him by rolling double 5s. So looks like we're going to be looking at a 4-0 lead for Brian, an 11-point match. Okay. And with that double 6, some possibility, limited possibility of Ralph escaping this gammon, but unlikely, but stranger things happen in backgammon. There's the 5-4. He's going to have to make it with a double 6's work. Doesn't get it. 4-0 Brian. So okay, so Ralph gets the opening 6-5 and follows with double 6s, so he's going to have a nice positional and count advantage in this first part of the second game, so perhaps he can begin to claw back into the match a bit. 3-6 is going to run if he can get it. No, he doesn't run with it. I would have expected him to clear, and if he gets past, escapes the hit, then he's home free in this game. Still yet with this roll and what's going to be a 17 pip lead, he may think about it right here. He's going to put the third checker back. 3-2. Brian's going to have to probably step up to that 22-point anchor. There's Ralph gets the 5 prime now with the double 3. Not Brian's best. I personally think Ralph should probably be cashing this one after this roll. There it is. Brian probably should pass this, and we'll move on with a 4-1 match. Okay, so we've kind of settled into the match now. Brian with a 4-1 match lead. You know, it's interesting how in these matches such as this, you know, those first 3 or 4 rolls by each player in each game kind of sets the tone for the game and establishes the game plan they'll each pursue during that game. So the first 3 or 4 rolls, although oftentimes kind of obvious plays, and we all know pretty much how we want to play those kinds of opening rolls, but regardless of that, those opening 3 or 4 rolls for each kind of set the tone for the game, establish the flavor of a particular game, and we proceed therefrom. So here's Brian's got a couple of what's he got, a double 5. You know, he could take them all the way around and have a commanding 31 pip lead, and if his checker on the 11 doesn't get hit, he's in great shape. Alternatively, he chooses to hit on the ace and you know, play the 5 down. So he's holding the anchor. He still has that 32 pip lead. Ralph's got a 4-6, which doesn't play super cleanly, but again, Brian doesn't have much structure established as of yet. So, okay, he looks at that 22 pip lead. He does have the forward anchor. He rolls a 5-3, which makes another point. And again, I can't argue with the double. Perhaps he, with the lead, I might have been a little more cautious, but I think it was a fairly easy take for Ralph as well. So you go, Brian plays the 5-3. Rather than making the 3-point, he plays it a bit more aggressively. Gets hit, so now it's going to settle in. Probably going to hit loose on the deuce. Okay, Ralph's got to take the anchor. He plays it a little bit more aggressive, and that may well be. I immediately assumed he was going to make the anchor, but this is not a bad play at all with the, you know, somewhat weak board and the blot in that board of Brian. He had the ace-6 game, which you know, is and his roles put him in that position, but it's not really what you know, players typically strive for early on. So now Ralph's got the 6-5. He could come on down and make the bar. He may be a little hesitant to leave the 2 blots in Brian's home board, but I personally, I'd make the bar, and because he can't clean it all up out there with the 6-5. He does make the bar. Brian's going to make the 22. Probably, you know, he doesn't like to bury a checker, but he might consider going to the ace to save that spare on the 8. Let's see what he does. You know, it's really interesting. We've enjoyed running this Monte Carlo satellite. We had a lot of interest in it. We had a number of European players in addition to our, you know, a number of the American players. But I noticed today's Friday. On Wednesday, the EU opened up American travel back to Europe, to the EU. And as it just seems like we were all and continue to be worried about the state of this virus and how it affects various countries and travel and so forth. But it seems as though it's improving a bit, and some of the summer tournament schedule in Europe seems much more likely now, perhaps, than it did even a week ago. So that's encouraging. Okay, a 3-5 for Brian. Or that was 3-5 for Ralph, which allowed the hit. Now, double nickels. Ralph dances. Now, this is kind of interesting. Brian has a 4-point board, but with the 4 and 5 open, so provides it's not as strong as it might otherwise be. And he's looking at Ralph has a fairly decent structure on his side of the board, although it's not as advanced as Brian's is. So it's kind of an interesting standoff here. Brian's probably going to hit on his 7. No, he chooses not to hit. He moves on. He wants to get away from that hitting exchange and try to get another point made, the 5-point preferably. Ralph rolls 4s, which is going to allow him to hit on the 10, come on to the 6, play one to the 7. So now he's, he's got a substantial pip lead. Brian's made a board, but he's got 5 checkers back. Ralph ships the 4 cube, which I think's perfectly appropriate. Brian takes it. Now he could have some problems right here from a timing sense and a cracking sense. He rolls a 4-3, which buys him a bit of time, gets the 1 checker out. 2-1's a nice timing roll for him. Aces for Ralph. He's probably gonna, what's he got? He's got the lead, so he's gonna take 3 to the 10, and then I presume he could come on to the 7 with the 1 spare checker. But I'd come to the 10 because it's going to be easier to clear those checkers if they're also bearing on the 4. So here we go. Deuces, probably going to make the 4. So again, Brian's getting into that timing problem, which we anticipated. He's going to the ace and the 8, likely. And correct. Deuces again. So now Brian's really getting into some trouble. His board has collapsed. He's down, 19 pips after the roll. So Ralph's in a pretty commanding position in this game with a 4 cube in play. He got to leave, so Ralph's got that shot or that slot to shoot at. Here, depending on how aggressive he wants to be, he plays it a little more passively. He could have played the 2 off the mid, making the bar and sliding on the 5, or making the ace and sliding on the 5, but he played it a little more passively, which is probably good with the with a 4 cube there. He's in a very strong commanding position. Don't give your opponent the opportunity to get back into the game. Okay, 4-3, just going to take 2 to the 3 in all likelihood. Brian rolls a nice small number, which allows him to maintain a bit of a board. And there's a 5-4. That's a shot. Misses it. 2-1, which is a point. Has his choice of points. He can play super safely for this roll, making the 5-point. Possibility of leaving a shot next roll. He could make the deuce point and be vulnerable to the immediate 5-2, but he plays it safely. There's the 6-4, which is that shot we were talking about, the possibility of a shot on the next roll. He gets missed. He rolled 6s, so he's going to capture the 4 points on this game, and we're going to have a 5-4 match. So quite an exciting match to this point. Brian won 4 in the first game. Ralph wins 4 in the third game. 1 point in the middle, so it's 5-4 Ralph. Now it's interesting, and again, I know Brian's play somewhat by virtue of his playing in our tournaments, not as familiar with Ralph, but you can see Ralph's Galaxy ratings 2092, where Brian's is 1698. Now Galaxy ratings are dependent on any number of factors, including volume and amount of play, opponent selection, match links, you name it. So there's a lot of variables there. So, but maybe we get some indication that certainly Ralph on Galaxy is perhaps a more experienced player and has a higher rating than Brian does. But it's hard to draw any conclusions from that. So here we go, double nickels for Ralph. I suspect he brings him on around the 10 and takes the, he can't safety this guy that's on his 9-point. It's only exposed to a single direct shot if he leaves it there. If he brings it forward, the 1s and 3s hits it. So I would, okay, he made the ace, came out. Now, again, he's got a 46 pip lead. A better board. He's escaped his back checkers. He's really in a fairly strong position, and good cube, good drop, in my opinion. Okay, so opening 4-3 for Ralph. Brian's got the 6-5. It's interesting, Brian was up 4-0. Now he's down 4-6. But it's an 11-point match. It's, what is that, 5 away, 7 away, so it's no need to panic. Just continue to play a game. It's not, hugely score-dictated play at this score in this match length as of yet. Now Brian gets the early home board advantage over there. He's got a shot at a third checker. I like the cube, and Ralph didn't. So 6-5 Ralph. I think that probably was a drop at that score. So again, 6-5 Ralph, 5 away, 6 away. So pretty much a dead even match at this point. I know both these guys were quite excited to have reached this this final. We had 4 8-player brackets in the Monte Carlo satellite, and the 4 bracket winners advanced to a playoff. Brian Heft beat in the semifinal Frederic Toul of France. I hope I pronounced his name right. French is not my strength. And then Ralph beat our own Tara Mendocino in the other semifinal. Tara and Frederick were bracket winners as well. So Brian got off to a good start in this game. Tries to capitalize on that with a cube. Ralph takes it. Brian has improved his position since then. That's going to make a 5 prime at the I'm sorry, that was Ralph's 4-3. Occasionally get the dice backwards there. So now it's 4-1. He's obviously comes in with a 4, looks for the ace. But Ralph's got those 3 guys trapped back there on the ace point, so he's got to find, make some constructive improvements in his home board, but he's got to get one of those guys out of there. So he's going to make the 4 and break to the 23 with one of those back checkers. 5-3 gets hit. He could make the 3, or he could hit the guy on the mid back there. I'd hit that. Ace 5, so now he's got to step out. It's going to be a little bit of a hitting exchange here. Nice 3-2. Ralph really needed that. He's still got a timing problem and a kind of a positional control problem here, but because he's very likely he might can sustain one roll, but then he's going to have to leave one of those anchors relatively quickly, and Brian's probably going to be in a position that with some decent rolls he can capitalize on that. So there's the 4-2. It's just too much ammo, I think, for him to break. He could break from the ace back there, but and he does. Deuces. What's he do? He can make the deuce, have a 4-point board. He plays it all the way in, so it's take away the flash shot. 3-5. Nothing for him to do here except play inside. 4-1. Again, probably play safe and make Ralph move on the next roll. He's either, if he doesn't, can't escape one of those checkers, he starts cracking. So now he's going to have to come out to the bar. There's a double 3s. It's kind of a killer roll. Now Ralph's in, there's the deuce point. Ralph's in serious jeopardy of losing a gammon here. He's got them all in now, so perhaps, he's got, 12, 13 crossovers. Brian's still got 16, so perhaps Ralph can salvage this. And there's always the possibility that, Brian could end up leaving a shot, and that's what he's trying to minimize with his contemplation of how to play this 4-2. Ralph needs to get one of them out. He can't, which forces him to crunch a bit. So not only he's lost some defensive, possibilities with having to crunch, but he also has not been able to, advance any of those back checkers to try to beat the gammon as well. Brian leaves the shot. Okay, Ralph's going to leave with 1, make that, and now he's got to just move checkers. Brian plays very aggressively, takes all those checkers off the deuce to enhance his gammon possibilities. 5-4. Following the same philosophy, he'll take 2 off. 2-1. 3-1. Brian's going to take 1 off. 5-4. Brings them both into the outfield. 4-1. Let's see how. I think he plays off the 5 personally, but could play off the 6, but there he goes. Okay, 4s. Ralph's got to run. That'll come to the 6. There's 5-4, which is a nice roll. But Ralph's probably going to save the gammon now. He could play the 5 in, make a 5-point home board, but he decides to go ahead and run. 1 game rollout. Says that was the right choice. Brian could have rolled something that would have left a shot, but he didn't. And Ralph saves the G. He was looking in quite vulnerable there for a moment, but he saves that. So now it's a 7-6 Brian lead. Now again, you notice both of these players are playing relatively quickly. Both have a good amount of time left, so time's not going to be an issue in this match. unless something changes dramatically. There's Brian with deuces. He's going to make the 4 point and the 9 point, so he likely. So he'll have a very strong offensive position. 3-2. Ralph's going to bring that guy around the corner. So again, 5-1, probably maybe to the 4 and split the back. But it's fairly even pip count, but Brian has a bit of a better positional advantage early on, and he plays it a bit aggressively. A lot of people don't necessarily like to hit on the ace point early on and effectively bury a checker if you don't get hit. But he did get hit, so now he's recirculating it. Double 3 for Brian, so that's or for Ralph. Brian's going to have to play the 5 to the 20, I think, and then it's a matter maybe he plays 8-6 after that. No, he plays aggressively again. 2-1, so there's going to be the 4 point, so he's going to fall back into a 2-4 game. Nice 6-1 by Ralph. So now, he hits 2. Brian's playing quite aggressively on that far side of the board, top side of the board there. 4-2 for Brian. He's got that anchor, the double anchor back here, but he's probably going to get into some timing problems here in the not too distant future. If Ralph can manage to not get hit and roll some poor rolls. 4-1, he can't move from the 5 point. Maybe he comes to the 8 with that. Makes the 9, another good choice. But the 6-5 allows Brian to hit it and make the ace point. So there's that little bit of a positional transformation. Ralph makes what is really his only available play there. You don't want to break the 5 prime. He's stripped everywhere else, so that now Brian with a 5 pip lead. Pause indicates he might be thinking of doing something, but I think it would have been fairly premature. He's got these 2 checkers back here on Ralph's 2 point, which he's going to have to extricate at some point. So he's got a huge lead now, pip lead, but he's got a couple of checkers. He got to get out of town there at some point. Plays aggressively again with that 6-5, so he can bring that around. But again, Brian's got these 2 checkers to do something with, and there he gets hit. He's in a good position, but not the necessary position to be able to capitalize on it. And there Ralph comes in and escapes the blotted checker in Brian's home board. So now we've got one of those swings again where it goes from a very strong position with a lot of potential for Brian to Ralph gets a couple of good rolls, and here we are in kind of a double 4s, very nice roll. He's going to make the 5 point here, so now Ralph's going to be in a fairly commanding position. This is the allure of the game, and here's a crunch play. Now that cube, I'd be contemplating sending it myself. 6-4, leave one of them, yeah. 5-3. Brian can make the 2 and the 4, but he's in a serious timing bind in the game. There's the cube. It's a clear drop, I think, and no, it's close in the pip count, but he's he's prone to crunch immediately over there. So here we are, 7-7, four-way. So we're getting into that score range of doubled gammons are the match. So it's going to be interesting. Brian has played relatively aggressively with the cube, and certainly with this at this score, if he continues that, then Ralph's going to have to be careful with those take decisions. Okay, so Brian's got the choice here. I think he makes the 8, but he could make the Ralph's 5. But yeah, he makes the 8. 3-1 is Ralph's 5 point. So this is where it really gets exciting. At four-way, I mean, again, either player, is a gammoned 2 cube away from winning the match or losing the match. There's Ralph's got some potential. He's going to put the pressure on Brian to avoid that potential that Ralph had. Brian takes it, dances, and it's Brian's in serious jeopardy here now. Fortunately for him, Ralph doesn't roll something where he could capitalize on that dance that Brian just experienced, and here we swing again. Nice double deuce, which allows Brian to come in, make an anchor, and hit a checker. 4 deuce is going to make the 9 point. Double 4s, it's Ralph's time to dance. 5-1's going to make the 3. 1-3. So here we go. Brian was in serious jeopardy not long ago, and now Ralph not in as much serious jeopardy, but this is the allure of backgammon. Hits over there, so Ralph's going to come in. He's going to make the 3 point, bring 1 down. So again, Brian is playing extremely aggressively in the last few games, and it hasn't necessarily paid off for him. But another double deuce, oh man, that was brutal. So Brian's in serious jeopardy here. Ralph's in a great position. I think I get one of those checkers out, just run, and while Brian has 2 in the air, got to get it out of meat ultimately. Now slot the bar, try to form a 6 prime, and that'll take you a long way toward locking this match up. He chooses not to. Yeah, so now he's got to bring that checker out. Now okay, there's a 2-5. Probably right. Now, he makes the bar. Now, Brian, if he wants him to dance for quite a while, because if he comes in quickly, he's going to start, his timing, it's just going to go terrible. So make the 6 prime. There you go. Brian, again, like to keep dancing for a little bit. Doesn't. 2-6. Now, got to hit it. You don't want him to make a second anchor. Aces, there's the second anchor. But 2-6, let's see. Ralph, if he can't get out of there with some rolls, but he rolls a 5, which allows him to do so. 5-1 to bring it on out. So now we're back to that same position. Brian would just as soon dance for a moment, because he's got one more roll probably to sustain here before he has some opportunities with Ralph's play. So there's a 2-1, which is a great roll for Brian. Oh, that's a bad roll for Brian. Good roll for Ralphie. 5-3, gonna make the ace. There's a shot right there. Can play off the 8, so it's only one of them shooting at it. 5-4. There's another shot, but can't capitalize it, and he had 3 blots in his home board anyway had he hit it. 3-5, so yeah, Brian had to get one out and get moving. 4-3, probably take 2 off. I wouldn't want to strip that 5 and the 6 and potentially leave 2 shots. Double 5s, double 6s. There goes one of the anchors, the front one, obviously. And 4-1 makes the deuce point. Ralph's rolled superbly in this sequence here, and Brian's not rolled terribly, but he just hasn't had the opportunities. 2-1, just play them safe. Double 5s now. Yeah, Brian can't do nothing but roll big when he's wanting to maybe roll small. There's a shot. 5-3, has to hit this. Has to hit it. He misses it. 6-1, he gets one more shot. Got to make the ace, I think, leave the 4. And he misses it on that. But Brian, with all of those big rolls, now, even though he hasn't hit anything, he's probably going to be able to save the G. So, again, what a interesting game. And he will save the G, and we'll go to another game. Now, that's backgammon at its finest there. I don't know that the play was perfect by either. I didn't notice anything obvious. But, where it looks like... Brian's dead and roasted, he manages to save the gammon. And Ralph rolled very well at points, but then just when he needed it, he couldn't get what he needed to give him the gammon. So, but anyway, 2-way, 4-way, which, as we all know, is quite an interesting score. So Ralph at 2-way, he's going to be playing relatively cautiously. He doesn't want to put he's probably never going to double this. He doesn't want to give Brian the opportunity to win a doubled gammon. Brian sends it early and gets a good roll. Wow. So obviously at 4-away, he's doubled early. He wants to try to get the G, win the match. There he's going to make the bar. Probably play to the 9, maybe play to the 18. He gets hit, but at what cost to Ralph? Six one, yeah. 3-5, he gets hit again. So Brian's had tremendous opportunities to kind of like wrap this thing up in certain regards, but Ralph's had 2-6 and 3-5 to fly shots to hit those checkers. 5-4. So here we're going to get into that timing situation again. Whoa, that one hurt. Ralph can't play the 2 back checkers, so he's going to have to play all this. He's going to have at least 2 or 3 blots here. 2-5 hits them both. There's the probably makes the 2 point. 5-1 makes the 3 in front of him. Could make the 8, but I don't know. 4-2. So now Ralph is swimming upstream. He's going to be crunching here. Does he play the 4 and break forward with the deuce up there? Probably so, and that's what he did. Now Brian's got a double 4, which is not a bad roll, but he can't escape this trailer back here. but he's got a lot of play upside. He's going to make the 3-point and then figure out what other 2-4s he wants to play. He's going to play to the 6 and 9 probably. Okay, so now he gets the trailer out. Not that wouldn't have been a huge difficulty otherwise, but double 4s. Come in, go to the 5. Oh, he can go to the ace. So there, and this is so just natural to a lot of the experienced players and so forth, but some of you, who are not that experienced player, you can see the style of play and positional play as it relates to the score in match play. Here, Brian being 4-away, Ralph 2-away. Brian needed he needed 4 points. He doubled relatively early on potential. It fell his way, so now he's very likely going to win this match with a gammon on a 2Q. So again, he played as he needed with regard to the score, and it worked out for him. Now, Ralph, you're not going to beat this G, so just start. I don't think he's going to beat this G. Make some points and hope to get a shot and hit. And he got the shot, but he didn't hit. So slot. No, I gotta. Yeah, he's toast now. He's not going to hit a checker. I mean, at best, I don't even know if double 6s twice wins from here. So congratulations from Ralph. Congratulations to both guys. You got to the final, and a great performance by both of you. A good, clean, tough, close match. So congratulations to Brian for winning. Congratulations to Ralph in the final. What do we got? Wasn't the cleanest match. Ralph played well for himself. Actually, in this particular game, played better. Brian had a bit more luck. Brian played aggressively when he needed to from the scores he was in, and pulls through with a win. So congratulations to Brian. They're both winners. Brian gets the Monte Carlo entry and so forth. There is a cash prize to the finalists and Ralph. So a lot of fun this morning. Congratulations to Brian Heff, Las Vegas, Nevada, and congratulations to Ralph Sudbrack from Berlin. So we've had a lot of fun with this satellite. We hope to do it for not only next year for the World Championship, but for various other national and international tournaments, our own tournament in Texas. So it's kind of an interesting format we've used. Players seem to enjoy it quite a bit. We've had a lot of fun with it. Hopefully the players have enjoyed it. So we appreciate y'all joining up with us.
And tell them that you're a treater.
Yeah, we're Tara. There's a number of events coming up in Europe in the short term. And again, Europe's opening up more, which is a great thing for all of us from not only a backgammon perspective, but from a life perspective. But we hope to see all of y'all soon. Of course, Monte Carlo will be coming up, what is it, end of July, first part of August.
24th.
Then there's the UBC Contender Tournament in Marbella, Spain. Tara and I will be there. I look forward to meeting many of our friends, particularly from Europe, but from other places as well in Marbella. And then, of course, we're very excited to be on the staff of the World Backgammon Federation's team championship and individual championship in Trier, Germany. I think that's August 30th to September 5th, where Marbella, Spain is like the 15th of August to the 19th of August or something of that date. Check your calendars. But some great events coming up, and hope everyone is able to get out and, let's get live backgammon playing going again. And again, beyond the playing of the backgammon and all, I know it's a great social community, and we're all looking forward to seeing many of our friends again. So thank you for joining us this morning. Check out our Ace Point Backgammon site, Ace Point Backgammon Shop. We run a lot of tournaments. We have a lot of good merchandise, trying to provide a great resource to the backgammon community. So thank you very much for watching this morning. Thanks to Brian and Ralph for a good match. And everybody have a good day and a good weekend. Thank you very much. It's Bill and Tara. We'll see you next time.